Okay, ladies and gentlemen, you all have taken your seats. I will open the annual conference of today. Of course, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to our IPCSA conference of 2018. The first day, tomorrow we will have our member meeting. For the first time in Africa. We are very proud to be here in Africa and to see you all around. I look forward to speak to you during the 2 days of the conference, during the breaks, and of course do not hesitate to take part in the discussion of today. Special welcome to our members from all over the world. It's good to see that our IPCSA family is growing and covering almost all regions of the world. Our thanks go to PORTNET Morocco for the organization of this big event. Not forget, of course, the sponsors who make the event possible. A 2 days event with lots of topics. The various panel sessions of today and presentation of tomorrow will give you a good view on the broad scope of activities IPCSA is involved in. Good to hear views from political, legislation, strategic, technical and logistic nature during these days. Together, all 5 are important viewpoints to enhance the transport and logistic flows. Together, I said. Together, that's the key word. Or better say, share views and share data. Today we still face with siloed viewpoints. Not from our members, I must say, but in the market themselves. So siloed, isolated thinking instead of sharing views. I realize that it's not easy, but at the same time I realize that to enhance the transport market and reduce the mismatches, sharing of views and data is a must-have. The transport market is due to the new technology changing. Roles, tasks of parties involved in logistic information will change. More transparency, direct instead of using intermediates, is key to efficient trade. In one word, we call it re-logistification. The means of this are available. Look to, for instance, e-commerce. E-commerce is boosting. More and more e-shopping, as well as on business level as on private life, is becoming de facto standard. You and I get from the very first moment of placing your order notifications about the progress until the final delivery of the goods in your retail or at home. This is happening in our daily life, and we wonder still why on business level this direct access to information is lacking to a great extent. Of course we realize competition, of course we realize that for some parties in logistic chains it means another way of thinking, another way of doing business, need new business models to be developed and to be thought about. But doing nothing, to my opinion, will lead to end of business. To make this happen, you need trust and neutral parties to handle the data. Trust to be able to indicate by yourself who is allowed to view, exchange and update the data. Neutral, to give the parties using this data the trust that the data is safe and not used for any other purpose than asked for by the owners of the data. That is why port communities, as well on sea and air freight oriented, are important hubs in the logistic flows of today and tomorrow. Trustworthy, neutral and secure. Apart from a higher level of correctness, maturity of the data, today we see a trend whereby business intelligence are becoming a very important add-on to improve the business. IPCSA fulfills a number of roles in this process. It supports PCS operators as well as business as on government level. IPCSA is a common voice, all PCS members to the various discussions on international level. Due to our global spread, global spread, we have a lot of transport and logistic experts among our members who represent IPCSA on various international forums and governments level with their experience, of which we are very happy and thankful. We are very proud that these days IPCSA is many times consulted by international organizations when they consider changes. We are a respected partner on various international organization forums, meetings and work groups. Proud to be recognized and receive the NGO status, the non-governmental organization status, and especially on UN level, we have the special NGO status. So, ladies and gentlemen, today, with you, I'm looking forward to the presentations and discussions on the various topics. Support and advice from our logistic experts among our members are key to your success. I hand over to Mr. Benhayoun. Is that well pronounced? Yeah? Okay. Who will highlight what IPCS means to PORTNET as a single operator. I wish you a very pleasant and informative conference. Thank you.
Bonjour tout le monde. Monsieur le Président de l'Association internationale des Port Community Systèmes et IPCSA, mes chers amis, experts venus de plusieurs environnements différents, de l'Association internationale des Port Community System, les experts du Maroc, les experts de l'UNCFACT, avec lesquels on a commencé hier lors de la 5e conférence internationale sur le guichet unique. Chers amis, clients et partenaires qui travaillent dans les administrations, dans l'écosystème de PORTNET. Donc, avant tout, je voudrais remercier IPCSA, mais aussi les autres partenaires qui nous ont accompagnés qui continuent à nous accompagner pendant ces 2 jours pour l'organisation de cet événement qui nous tient vraiment à cœur, qui est très spécial pour nous, puisque la façon de l'organiser rejoint un petit peu la thématique qui est l'intelligence communautaire et ça me fait vraiment plaisir de voir plusieurs organisations, plusieurs amis qui viennent de contextes différents, du contexte bancaire, du contexte de la facilitation du commerce, du contexte de la logistique, du contexte de l'administration, qui parlent pendant ces 2 jours de la même chose, qui parlent de la facilitation du commerce, qui parle de la compétitivité des entreprises, ce qui est magnifique en soi. Cet événement pendant les 2 jours donc justement est caractérisé par la participation de plus de 30 nationalités qui participent dans tous les travaux pendant les 2 jours. Qu'est-ce que ça signifie IPCSA pour nous? Donc, vous m'avez posé la question, Hans. Donc, on est vraiment honoré au Maroc de faire partie de ce grand réseau, de ce grand réseau de confiance, de systèmes communautaires de confiance, et dont le principe est complètement aligné avec ce que nous faisons pour notre communauté, ce que nous faisons pour nos clients et partenaires. Donc, IPCSA, l'Association internationale des Port Community Systems, était pour nous toujours une source d'inspiration, puisqu'ils travaillent sur des problématiques qui sont très concrètes, très pratiques, qui touchent au quotidien des entreprises, des business, sans beaucoup trop compliquer les choses et aller rapidement sur des quick wins, parce que comme vous savez, l'être humain en général déteste perdre, adore gagner. Et au niveau de notre environnement, c'est ce qui maintient l'engagement, le soutien de tous les membres de la communauté. C'est en donnant à chaque fois quelque chose de plus, de donner des victoires aux membres de la communauté chaque quelques semaines, chaque mois, des choses qui peuvent améliorer leur quotidien au lieu de travailler sur des projets interminables pendant des années et dire que d'ici 5 ans on va réaliser des choses, d'ici 5 ans on va faire un guichet unique, d'ici 5 ans on va changer le monde. Donc le monde doit changer continuellement chaque jour et la vie doit s'améliorer parce que la perception s'améliore chaque jour. Pour vous montrer un petit peu comment on fait ça au niveau de PORTNET, avec votre permission, on va rediffuser le film institutionnel qu'on a fait hier, parce qu'il y a beaucoup d'amis qui viennent de très loin qui nous rejoignent aujourd'hui. Donc, je demanderai à la régie de passer le film institutionnel de PORTNET.
Bonjour, je m'appelle Conta. Je suis un conteneur, le champion du monde de la supply chain, mais aussi le champion de toutes les formalités, qu'elles soient administratives ou non administratives. Ces formalités, je dirais même ces complications, qui commencent bien souvent avant mon entrée en scène, nécessitent pour les opérateurs de nombreuses démarches et des choix décisifs pour leur business. Avant que mon voyage soit initié, mon réceptionnaire final doit domicilier un engagement d'importation qui nécessite le recours à de nombreux acteurs publics et privés. Remplir des formulaires, déposer des dossiers avec des documents souvent redondants et faire le tour de plusieurs guichets. Quel que soit le mode de transport ou l'incoterm utilisé, à l'arrivée m'attendait encore une multitude de démarches et de contrôles, et donc d'allers-retours. Une après l'autre, chacune des entités, publiques ou privées, avec ses propres référentiels, appliquait ses règles et modes opératoires, sans se soucier de la suivante. Une complexité, une incertitude qui pénalisait l'ensemble de la communauté de la supply chain. Et pour moi, un flou et une attente sur le quai qui durent en moyenne 11 jours. Les frais et les pénalités de mon immobilisation sapaient la compétitivité de mon réceptionnaire. Heureusement, en 2008, à la convergence de plusieurs visions stratégiques, le paradigme change. Pour les administrations, le citoyen et l'entreprise se situent désormais au centre de leurs préoccupations. Et le Maroc met en œuvre le guichet unique PORTNET. En associant tous les intervenants de la supply chain autour d'un seul guichet virtuel, la plateforme PORTNET œuvre sans cesse en vue de fluidifier les formalités de commerce transfrontalier, en simplifiant, en harmonisant et en dématérialisant les procédures. PORTNET concourt à renforcer la transparence dans la relation client, opérateur économique et administration, à améliorer le climat des affaires, à promouvoir la bonne gouvernance. Et en 2011, PORTNET est opérationnel. Tout change. Le guichet unique national des procédures du commerce extérieur, PORTNET, donne accès via une même plateforme électronique à tous les services concernés. Importateurs, exportateurs, transitaires, consignataires, banques, administrations et autres, tous les usagers de mon écosystème peuvent interagir. Tracer mon parcours, créer ou recevoir des alertes, effectuer ou recevoir un paiement, prendre n'importe quel type de décision me concernant. Tout cela dans un environnement hautement sécurisé, depuis n'importe quel point du globe, 24 heures sur 24 et 7 jours sur 7. La communauté autour de PORTNET constitue progressivement un centre d'intelligence communautaire, de ressources informationnelles et d'aide à la décision pour l'optimisation des opérations dans son écosystème. La mise en commun des données et des efforts, les actualiser en permanence, permet d'agréger les savoirs et les expériences. Elle profite à tous, et en particulier à la compétitivité des PME-TPE. La dématérialisation qu'offre PORTNET répond à ses objectifs de développement durable et de préservation des ressources naturelles. Avec son objectif zéro papier, c'est plus de 800 000 arbres en équivalent papier et la consommation annuelle de carburant de 17 000 voitures qui sont économisées chaque année. Devenue une référence à l'international, PORTNET est une initiative saluée par l'OMC pour son amélioration du climat des affaires, ce qui a permis au Royaume de gagner 42 places au classement de l'indice Doing Business de la Banque mondiale. PORTNET couvre progressivement tous les points d'échange transfrontaliers du Royaume. PORTNET est ouvert à tous les importateurs et exportateurs et leur écosystème. PORTNET va au-delà des formalités administratives en œuvrant à une intégration de bout en bout de la supply chain à l'international. Conscient de l'importance que revêt l'intégration des chaînes de valeur du commerce international comme levier accélérateur du développement économique, le Maroc, à travers son guichet unique PORTNET, continue à œuvrer pour la modernisation et la fluidification des procédures de passage transfrontalier, maritime, aérien et terrestre. Dans la dynamique continue de consolidation du positionnement du Royaume en tant que hub logistique et plaque tournante du commerce dans la région, la communauté de PORTNET continue à multiplier les initiatives et les efforts au service de l'interopérabilité et de la compétitivité du commerce transfrontalier.
Donc voilà un petit peu ce que... on a essayé à travers cette vidéo de résumer un petit peu notre façon de faire pour notre communauté. Et par cette façon de faire, on partage énormément des choses avec la grande famille IPCSA, qui par la même occasion grandit très vite. Et ça nous fait plaisir, comme je l'ai dit hier. Plus on est nombreux, plus on s'éclate. Donc par rapport aux synergies, par rapport à notre intelligence communautaire. Donc au Maroc, on est complètement en phase par rapport à ça. Donc on aura des débats certainement très très intéressants, très enrichissants. On a des experts brillants qui vont intervenir aujourd'hui. Donc, je voudrais conclure rapidement. Encore merci à tous les partenaires, à tous nos clients, à tous nos amis qui sont venus de très loin. Merci à IPCSA de nous avoir fait confiance, d'organiser cette première conférence en Afrique, au Maroc. Et je vous souhaite la bienvenue dans cette deuxième journée à cette conférence annuelle d'IPCSA et d'agréables moments et d'agréables discussions. Merci beaucoup.
So, ladies and gentlemen, it's good to see a demotivated container get it laughing. And that's what PORTNET did. I hope you will not only remember the container laughing, but especially the message behind it. I know I give masterclasses in the Netherlands, and I have some pictures in between all the subjects, and the people remember the pictures, but not the subjects. So I hope the subject, the ins and outs of the video is well known and get more known by yourself. Today, I will moderate the first session of IPCSA's conference, and I would like to invite Lance Thompson, Frank Janssens, and Julien Bornon to come to the stage, and we will start then our session of today. And I will ask Lance to start with you. Yeah? Yeah.
I made a few presentations yesterday in French, so today I'll make my presentation in English, so my apologies for the differences. And thank you. And so I have a presentation, and I'll be talking about the evolution of this concept of single window, especially within the UNECE, which was the custodian of the main recommendation on single window, recommendation number 33, which was created back in 2005. And at the time of its creation, there were only about 20 economies that said that they had a single window system. And as you can see over time, now in 2015, there's more than 100 economies that are saying that they have a single window system. And as we were seeing yesterday, it's not a one-size-fits all. So single window might be something that's different in each country. Though we're trying to make the base of what is a single window, the definition of a single window, common to everyone. So this is the definition that we had seen yesterday, and it remains relatively large as a definition. It's the basis of the definition of the WTO Trade Facilitation Agreement, as well as the work of the World Customs Organization, but it's also the basis for most single window implementations around the world. So it's defined as a facility that allows parties involved in trade and transport to lodge standardized information and documents with a single entry point to fulfill all import, export, and transit-related regulatory requirements. And if the information is electronic, then individual data elements should only be submitted once. And as I was explaining yesterday, we break this definition down into the 5 points that you see on the left-hand side. And we did quite a lot of work on a document on terminology. Let me just skip to that one directly. To test whether a system would be considered, according to this definition, a single window or not. So when we're talking about the economic operator, it's really about the single submission of data that the operator has to send for all of his import or export procedures or transit. And the operator should only have to send the information once. But we see that there are some economies that are putting into place multiple single windows, or each one of them with a regulatory backing behind it. And the most common right now that everybody probably knows about is within Europe, with a maritime single window proposal and a custom single window. And so in order to consolidate or to reconcile this, this oxymoron of having multiple single windows in a single economy, we've come up with this idea that as long as the trader only has to submit to one of the single windows, then it's reasonable. So if the word custom single window in this sense would be too large, because it could be the maritime operator, as it could be an importer or exporter who has to send the information to this place. But then the maritime operator would probably also have to speak with a maritime single window. So we preconcise that it should be more a wording like single window for importers, exporters, or single window for maritime carriers. So the maritime carrier, the operator, is the target. That type of operator only has to speak with one single window system, or the importer exporter only has to speak with one single window. When we use the term national single window, at least in our vocabulary within UNECE, this would mean that there really is only one single window for the entire economy, that there's not this, this oxymoron of multiple single windows in the same economy. So with that, we created some alternative vocabulary and some alternative language. And you can see at the bottom the 5 points of the definition. And so we test each implementation according to these 5 points. And we're saying that in order to be a single window, it must be exclusive on the market for this type of operator. So the operator is being essential. It must use an international standard information and documents. Sorry. It must be a single entry point, and it has to have a government mandate in order to have this single entry point. It must be for regulatory procedures, and it must be a single submission of data. And so we created some other terms when these 5 points are not aligned. Perhaps there's not a government mandate, or there's not an single submission of data. And so there are other terms that can be used, like single submission portal, which I'll speak about on the next slide, or a single window environment. Single window environment would be a status where there are multiple agencies, and the operator will communicate with multiple agencies, but they're going to share the information between each other in order to ensure that the information is only submitted once and that it's a streamlined process for the trader. In all of these examples, the main objective is to create trade facilitation for the operators and to improve the economic atmosphere of the country. I skipped just the core principles, which we talked about a little bit yesterday, but we didn't look at it in detail. And this project, which is being led by the Secretary General of IPCSA and the Director General of PORTNET, is looking at the different types of risks that can happen within a single window, whether it be change in regulations or technical or infrastructure failures, or the lack of participation of some of the agencies who say that they'll participate, but then they don't. And then how some of the paths in order to deal with these risks, like a business continuity plan or efficient and transparent governance. So this is one of the evolutions that we're working on within CEFACT in order to try to improve our work on single window. I think I spoke quite a lot about single submission portals yesterday. Again, the idea is to create trade facilitation for operators. In some countries, it's very difficult to put in place a national single window because it's very difficult to get all of the agencies to cooperate with each other. And the business community, the private sector, is often much more reactive, and they don't have to go through a lot of negotiations on a very governmental level to get each agency to share their information and streamline their procedures. And so a private sector entity can create a streamlined procedure for its clients that will allow it to communicate with multiple agencies. So it's a single window, basically. But the problem is, if we call it a single window, then we're creating confusion because it may not have a government mandate, or it may not have might not be doing only regulatory procedures, or it doesn't have a mandate to do that. on a unique basis for the economy. So we've created this new term, single submission portal, which in French is portail de soumission unique. And there are different types of examples of single submission portals. This document is, has just finished its public review, so it should be published in April after our plenary. One of the hot topics, and we spoke a little bit about it yesterday, is blockchain. And everybody's jumping on the bandwagon of blockchain, and we should try to use blockchain for absolutely everything. So yes, CEFACT is also working on blockchain. We have 2 white papers, one which is looking at the base principles of distributed ledger technology, DLT, and it's also looking at standards and what's important for standards with distributed ledger technology, and then a second white paper looking at different use cases of how you could use blockchain or distributed ledger. One of the key points from the first white paper is the importance of semantics, because when you're making an electronic communication from one party to another, so 2 people, you just have to agree bilaterally on what you're going to exchange. As soon as you're going to introduce multiple actors into this communication, or other people or other parties will be looking at the information, it has to be semantically clear what each data element means, and that everybody is understanding exactly the same thing. And this is where we see CEFACT as having a main advantage, as we have a library of data elements. It's like a huge encyclopedia of all information that could be used in electronic exchange within its business context. So this is where we're seeing our main contribution to this. And I'm often in discussions on blockchain the buzzkill, because we also have a recommendation number 14 on authentication, which explains that the authentication method which is put into place should be in correspondence with the transaction itself and with the parties making the transaction. So perhaps not every single transaction needs a very high level of security and trust, which would be inherent within blockchain. So it really should be taken on a case-by-case basis, and not just, let's put in blockchain because it's the biggest type right now and everybody's using it. It's really looking at, why would you be putting into place blockchain? Why would you be requiring this for a transaction? Because there will be an inherent cost. There's a distributed ledger behind it. There's a PKI signature. So these things have to be taken into consideration. The cost benefits against the what it will be bringing. I think I don't have a lot of time. I want to get to the last slide. But I presented this yesterday, the idea of a data pipeline. You'll probably hear a little bit more about it later on, about trying to get the information at the source to have better quality information, which can have advantages not only for governments in ensuring that they're getting the right data at the right time, but it's also very important for private sector companies who are able to better prepare their the arrivals of their containers, especially when they have standing orders of hundreds of containers per month, and they're not quite sure exactly what might be arriving. So they know, and they're able to plan in ahead in order to plan the arrival and where it should go once it arrives. Will you talk about it later, a little bit? So David will talk about it later. So this is really the main slide I wanted to get to, which is the revision of Recommendation 33. CEFACT develops these recommendations. This one was developed in 2005, and we tried to periodically review these recommendations to try to update them to the current context. Now, when this was created in 2000, it was before 2005, of course, it was between 2002 and 2004. A lot of examples were put directly into the text. So if you read Recommendation 33 as it is today, you're going to see that it's rather dated, because all of the examples date from 2001, 2002, and many of them don't exist anymore. So this makes it problematic. We need to update the recommendation, especially to remove these dated examples. But we had a very big conference last year, and also yesterday we continued with this, to look at what are the core elements that should be taken into consideration in a review of Recommendation 33. And the first thing was to integrate the work of that terminology note, where we're defining the 5 points of a single window and these other types of platforms that are similar to single window, integrating that into a new revision of Recommendation 33, but then also taking single window into the context of regional bodies, because a single window on the level of, if I take it to Europe, on the level of France or on the level of the EU is going to be very different, and it will be most likely a very different animal, whether it's just a national environment or a regional environment. So we're working on how to integrate this, and we have some very interesting suggestions from the DG TaxSud on how to approach this with, instead of saying single entry points, to have it harmonized entry points, but for regional single window, not a national. So you might have multiple national single windows, each one of them with their own single entry point, but each one of those single entry points on a regional level should be harmonized, so that a trader who's going to come into Europe, whether he's coming into Germany or into Italy, will have a harmonized data set and a harmonized method of sending the information to each one of the single windows. But on a national level, there'll be just one entry point. So that's one of the things that we're looking at and that we're taking into consideration in this revision. Also, integrating key performance indicators in order to test the functioning of the single window, but to integrate this already in the conception as well of a single window. We're trying to keep the definition, the base definition that you saw, as stable as possible, because there are so many organizations that have based their work on single window on that definition. So we're hoping that there'll be minimum changes to this definition, but one of the things that looks like it's inevitable to change is that there'll no longer be the notion of if data is electronic, it will have to be single submission. If you're putting into place a single window, then we're considering that it should automatically be electronic. We're not going to talk today about a paper single window. It just wouldn't make sense. So we're integrating into the definition in the revision, or this is our plan, it's not done yet, a notion that it should only be electronic. But keeping in mind that the end goal is not to create an electronic system. The end goal is to create facilitation for traders. And then one of the topics which is causing a bit of a debate right now is this notion of environment, which we define very clearly in our terminology note. And there are some other major organizations which have other opinions on how this should be considered, which would probably change the entire nature of the base definition. So this is something that's being discussed right now on how to integrate this notion of single window environment into our base definition. And so that's basically how we're having this evolve. I believe you'll have the slides afterwards, maybe on the IPCSA site, yes, also probably on the PORTNET site, and also on the UNEC site. So you'll be able to find it everywhere, and you have some links here on how to join us or our other work. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Len. And of course, I hope there will be a number of questions after the third presentation of today. But we continue with the second one, and the second one is the presentation about the role of customs in trade facilitation. When we talk about customs, when we talk about DG TaxSud, we say the name Frank Janssens. We all know that Frank left already DG TaxSud for a couple of years, or just a year, isn't it, Frank? And well, he is an expert nowadays in the world on customs affairs, and I'm very glad to have Frank Janssens here in the panel to give his view on the role of customs in trade facilitation. Frank, the floor is yours.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Hans. I also have to switch the mic. So good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Good morning, dear colleagues. So yes, it's a pleasure, but especially also an honor to be here with you and to share some of the views on how we believe that customs fits within the environment of trade facilitation. It's a big challenge in the world now to progress with trade facilitation, but as you will see later on in my presentation, of course, customs has also tasks in relation to protection and duty collection. Now, the customs have a lot of challenges nowadays. First of all, there is the globalization of trade. As you know, in the last decade, trade has become much more international, and of course that creates a lot of challenges. Especially Asia has a lot more export, both to the States, to Europe, but also now the African continent is very much on the rise and activities are increasing very much. Another challenge for customs is that the resources are at the best stable and in many cases declining. Most of the countries have budget problems and they have a tendency to reduce staff. So that is a challenge that has to be overcome. There is, of course, then the private side. There is increased competition, there is increased pressure for time, and also the customs administration has to follow in that in order that it fits well within the strategy of the country and that customs doesn't become an obstacle in the overall commercial policy of the country. And then not to forget a challenge which is still real and still needs a lot of attention is the security and safety threats. Now and then, unfortunately, we remembered of the importance of that, but customs has to stay vigilant and has to try to prevent that accidents happen. And then there is a bit of a newer challenge that has emerged, which I called the Trump effect. As you know, for customs, because of all of the decisions in the field of international trade, and especially from the side of the United States, but then also follow-up decisions by others, is that the commercial policy is changing from day to day. Tariffs are increased, other measures are being taken, and customs has to organize itself to implement the commercial policy of the day, as I said, which evolves day by day. So now, how can customs deal with that? I will give a number of principles how that can be done. I think to be more efficient, very important is, and it's also applicable to the single window, is the single submission of information. Efforts have to be made that multiple times submitting the same information is made. Then also the information requirements have to be in line with international standards. This has also been said earlier today. It's the only way to make real international trade working well. If you apply international standards, that you have the same understanding of terminology, if you exchange information, that the data are standardized and so on. Also very important is the risk management, which in view of the increase of trade should be automated. And if you say automated, there is little other way forward than to have it electronic. Also there I agree very much with Lance. Another principle, very important, is that you have to try to separate the trusted traders from the rest. And the rest are either unknown or adversely known traders. And for that, there exists a principle called authorized economic operator, which is very much promoted by the World Customs Organization, and it establishes criteria for providing certificates to trusted trader that they are an authorized economic operator, and there is also mutual recognition between countries for this trusted state of the companies. Then another point I want to underline is single inspection. Another point in terms of trade facilitation is that often at the point of entry, goods are inspected by the customs, by the health authorities, by the veterinary authorities and others. So that has to be well coordinated. And of course, it is also, yesterday, this has been said several times, it is a joint effort. People have to speak to one another, coordinate and organize themselves so that you can have a coherent approach. And of course, very helpful is also to develop single window operations, which, as you have seen in the movie, is a bit what they call the pivot point, a kind of turning point where all of the other services can connect to. So now, what about the role of customs as an enforcement organization? Because we have spoken about trade facilitation. So first of all, they have to ensure safety and security. I have said that, that's a constant effort to prevent accidents happening. Then also, they have the task of correctly collecting duties and taxes. It's very important. In many, many countries, customs duties and sales tax or VAT are an important part of the budget. So that needs to be ensured, also needs to be done correctly in order to have an equal playing field for the companies. Commercial policies, as I said, have to be implemented correctly. And of course, effort has to be made in the prevention and the fight against fraud. So that are important tasks which customs has to do. So from that, many people, or for many years, it was believed that these are a bit of a trade-off. If you do trade facilitation, you are weaker in, for example, fight against fraud or inspecting goods. But that is now changing, and more it is accepted that trade facilitation and the correct implementation of the customs task can go hand in hand. And how can they go hand in hand? How at the same time can customs, I would say, support or underline trade facilitation, but also protect the society? So first thing is the single electronic submission of information, but very importantly, prior to the arrival. So if it's electronic, it can be sent on beforehand. Most of the companies, they have all of the needed information by electronic way days in advance, and they can be submitted to customs on beforehand, and customs can have its risk analysis applied before the goods arrive, which makes that you save a lot of time at the moment that the goods arrive. And therefore, also when the goods arrive, then normally they call that the presentation of the goods. That's the moment that the goods are unloaded. And if the risk analysis have been done, I would say the majority of the goods can be authorized to leave the port or airport premises. So that goes a lot quicker. It's very important. Also, as I said before, in doing the risk analysis, you have to take into account those traders you trust and who regularly trade, and you know what you do. So they will only be subject of random controls or limited controls. And then customs can very much concentrate itself on those that they do not know, newcomers in the field, as you know. There's a lot of new companies popping up, so customs has to learn to know them. And then, of course, those who commit constantly errors or those who have dishonest intentions, they have to be followed much more in detail. So now a few more things on that, how this continues. So also an advice is that you should go for multidisciplinary inspections, so that also inspections are coordinated, that there is only one event of inspection and not multiple inspections. And very important with that is as well that modern inspection methods are used. So X-rays or cameras or whatever, we call it non-intrusive methods, and they have the advantage that they do not have a negative impact on the goods. The packaging, clients like them to be intact. The goods themselves, of course, have to be of prime quality. So having non-intrusive ways of inspection helps very much for trade facilitation. Another way of letting the goods go quickly when they arrive are post-release controls and audits. So when it is only a matter of documentation or calculation and so on, that can be treated offline. They can let the goods go, and then they can do an administrative task on fixing or agreeing on the exact duties. Then also another means is establishing guarantees and keeping checks on the guarantee so that the risk for society is less. Customs know with the guarantee they can always collect the duties if necessary, but they don't have to hold on to the goods and they don't have to linger for many days in the port as we saw in the movie earlier today. And of course, increased cooperation. There are different enforcement bodies active at the ports and airports or at the land borders, and there has to be increased cooperation. So here I will go very quickly. So safety and security, I think I have said quite a lot on already on that. The main message here is that in many, many countries, the rate of inspection has to go down a lot. In many countries, it's still around 90%, whilst in the most developed economies, it is lower than 2%. So there has to be, with the methods I described earlier on, there has to be an effort to reduce the number of inspections to make the movement of the goods go much quicker. Then I will show a few slides on modern technology, a bit like Lance did in his presentation, as we both agree that making that progress without electronics is very difficult. So what are the main emerging technologies? I will push again. Yeah, so I will say a few words as well on blockchain. It is the hype of the moment, as Lance said. Then big data and analytics, so that is to do with the way how you can use the data you have available, and then the latest trend on artificial intelligence, how can it work in the world of customs? So first of all, the blockchain technology, it's a new paradigm, it's a new approach, and how can it be used in the world of customs or also in the world of international trade? So first of all, it can represent assets digitally, the ownership of the goods or a certificate of origin, for example. It can also help to exchange values, so it can be helpful for releasing the goods, that the change of ownership, for example. It has the advantage that it doesn't have a central authority, because that is often in the world of international trade an obstacle. If it's trade between two countries, who will hold the database? How does the other one know the database hasn't been modified? And so on, because with blockchain you have identical copies which are distributed over the ledger. Then it's also a way of improving the management. For the blockchain you have to make a contract and you can describe exactly the cooperation, and I would say the rules of the game of the blockchain itself. And you shouldn't forget that also blockchain, we're very much at the beginning, and it has a lot of more prospects which we'll only discover in the coming years. I have a slide here a bit. It's from Gartner. It's, I would say, probably the biggest consultant on IT and modern technology on the world. I will try to explain it. So here, the slide, you have to see it in 3 columns. So here we are from 2018 till 21, and here the line is the growth rate of blockchain. So you can say in the next 2 years, the blockchain will be very much in the news and there will be much more activities starting. There are very few real business activities on blockchain yet. There's a lot of proofs of concept, pilot projects, and so on. The columns on the bottom, they have the value in billions of dollars, and you can see there on the second column from 22 until 26, they expect that in terms of investments of billions of dollars, blockchain will really go up, but there will probably be less initiatives because the experimenting will be over. And then it is foreseen by Gartner that by 26, beginning of 27, it will really take off in big implementations, especially the banking world, but I believe as well very much also in the world of logistics, international trade, and customs. So here, the blocks, you can see the investment will go up. It will become really a mature technology by, at the latest, 2030, and the kind of investments will go a bit up and down over the years as probably they make progress, because one of the obstacles are lack of standards, as Lance has said, and also, of course, the speed of processing is still a problem. I still have a few slides, not many more. I give you, you can check that later. These are in the customs field, a number of initiatives on different continents, a single window in Singapore, things that are happening in customs in the United States, proof of origin in Latin America. So these are a bit also from the private sector. Accenture, which is a big consultancy company, does a lot of work on that, but there are others. And of course, TradeLens, which is in logistics, the joint efforts of IBM and Maersk. So you have the addresses there. You can check that later. We don't have the time here. So one of the last points I want to say is big data. So we have a lot of information, customs declarations, notifications, background information, commercial papers. So all of that is very important, but also important is to emphasize that you always need to think what to do with it. You cannot go into a mode of collecting everything you can grab, because you will be drowned in the problem of the analytics. So you have to think very carefully. But I also have to say that technology is very much progressing, and that beyond the structured data of declarations, also now a lot can be done on the use of unstructured information. Then how can we use it? Especially for risk portfolios. With the data, they can be updated very quickly and very efficiently. It can detect very early possible fraud cases. Also, in terms of governance and functioning of trade and customs, determining the root causes of issues and problems, try to find out why those things go wrong, or why a certain company is always making the same mistakes. And of course, also this data will help in reducing the cost, which is a constant effort for the customs administration. So here, as I said, the big data can be used for structured and unstructured material now, so it can be analyzed much better. And the advantage is that you have nearly real-time information, so you can adapt your behavior very much to the latest state of play. Then a bit more futuristic is artificial intelligence. So that is also very much mentioned. It is really the machine that has the capacity to learn. So I would say, in comparison with analytics, where you analyze historic data and you try to discover trends and try to prevent things that happen which are forbidden or not positive, with artificial intelligence, the machine itself will also become smarter. And what is very important is that it works very fast. So you can also there, in fact, follow up, especially in fraud cases. You can intervene much earlier in the customs world, because you will have that much more easy. So the last slide is just a summary. So as I said, now a lot is being done on data analytics, which is a review of the past. And from this analysis, you draw conclusions and you take actions. Next step is predictive analytics. So people try, from the information that is gathered from the big data available, try to predict what will happen, where will be the problems in the future. And then the last step is the artificial intelligence, or machine learning, as we say, which makes assumptions, it learns, it becomes gradually more performant, and also it can handle much more data than humans, and it can also react much quicker. So that is for certain something that will develop much further in the future. And as we said together here, with this approach, you can, on the one hand, facilitate trade for the honest traders. It goes very quickly. Those who are either not knowledgeable or fraudulent, they can be stopped by using modern technology, by using more or less the same number of staff. So that was it. Thank you very much for your attention.
Yeah, it's on now. I suppose there will be a lot of questions after the third speaker. And the third one is United Nations Conference on Trade and Development, better known as UNCTAD, isn't it, Julien Bornon? Julian is representing them, and he will give some highlights on his view on trade and trade facilitation. Julian, the floor is yours. Well, I can have my headphones on, but I can't read it. Il faut bien que les...
There should be just one maestro to for trade facilitation, international trade facilitation. Come on, follow me.
Yes.
I think it's a good introduction for my speech.
That's right. We follow you.
Thank you so much. Je vais malgré tout parler en français ce matin. Ce serait une insulte pour un Français de parler en anglais. Je vais commencer cette intervention en vous disant on ne gagne jamais. Hier, je suis intervenu dans un panel où j'ai voulu faire une présentation et quand j'ai passé la présentation, j'ai dit non, il faut donner des bullet points. Ce matin, je passe après mes deux collègues qui ont fait des présentations et moi, j'ai fait des bullet points. Donc, ma seule façon de m'en sortir et de réussir cette intervention, c'est de faire court et de parler simplement du sujet qui nous réunit. La transformation numérique et la facilitation des échanges. Alors, je m'appelle Julien Bornon, je travaille pour la CNUCED et je travaille en fait, grâce à l'appui de partenaires comme la Coopération allemande, à mettre en place cette transformation numérique sur le terrain, dans un certain nombre de pays dans le monde et en particulier sur le continent africain. Ce que je voudrais faire ce matin, donc, c'est partager 5 grands constats liés à mon expérience de terrain sur la transformation numérique et qui vont rejoindre les présentations de mes deux collègues sur scène. Le premier grand constat, c'est que la transformation numérique est en marche. Elle est à l'agenda des grands traités internationaux. Le traité de facilitation des échanges de l'OMC établit clairement qu'elle est un objectif pour l'ensemble des opérateurs. Et de fait, on le voit avec les travaux de PORTNET depuis 10 ans, avec les travaux menés par l'ensemble des membres de l'Alliance africaine pour le commerce électronique. Dans beaucoup de pays, on voit la numérisation transformer les métiers de la facilitation du commerce international. Donc la transformation numérique est en marche, mais le premier constat, c'est qu'elle l'est de façon très disparate. Parler de transformation numérique, est-ce que c'est, comme l'a dit mon collègue, simplement pouvoir faire une demande en ligne? Est-ce que c'est avoir un guichet unique électronique intégré qui va rassembler tous les opérateurs? Est-ce que ça va rassembler simplement quelques opérateurs? La transformation numérique est en marche, mais c'est encore une frontière. Elle est loin d'être accomplie dans la plupart des pays dans le monde, et en particulier aussi les pays les plus développés. Le deuxième constat, c'est que si cette transformation numérique est disparate, c'est aussi parce qu'il faut s'entendre sur ce qu'on appelle la transformation numérique, la numérisation, l'échange des données électroniques. Et à cet égard, oui, je voudrais saluer le travail de mes collègues de UNIC qui ont donné dans la recommandation 33 une définition très claire, mais qui doit être révisée quelques années après maintenant, de ce que va être un des outils clés de la transformation numérique, le guichet unique électronique. Et on a vu qu'à partir de cette discussion simple dans votre présentation, plein d'autres questions se posaient en termes d'environnement, en termes d'acteurs, en termes de diversité des guichets uniques électroniques. Je voudrais prendre un exemple issu du Bénin, où on a travaillé avec ma collègue de la GIZ, où on a essayé de comprendre comment on devait faire pour exporter des mangues. Et on se rend compte que pour exporter des mangues à partir du Bénin, on va rencontrer un premier guichet unique électronique pour le prédédouanement qui va rassembler le certificat d'origine et le certificat phytosanitaire. Et puis ensuite, on va rencontrer un guichet unique qui va rassembler certains acteurs du port et les douanes. C'est un deuxième guichet unique électronique. Et puis un troisième guichet unique électronique, c'est comme ça qu'ils l'appellent, au niveau de tous les opérateurs du port. Et puis un quatrième guichet unique électronique au niveau des transitaires qui se sont mis d'accord pour avoir un seul guichet pour traiter les demandes. La conclusion de cet exemple, c'est que, vous le voyez, à travers une seule définition qui paraît simple, un guichet électronique, unique, on se retrouve avec toute une série de guichets différents qui, pour chaque administration, chaque institution, simplifie la vie de l'opérateur économique. Mais de mon côté, je me retrouve encore avec 4 guichets différents pour exporter mes mangues. Et donc c'est très important d'être d'accord sur les termes, c'est très important aussi de comprendre qu'il peut y avoir plusieurs réalités derrière ces concepts et qu'il faut réussir à se mettre d'accord pour bien appréhender la réalité de la transformation numérique. Si j'écoute les autorités portuaires du Bénin, tout se passe bien parce qu'il y a un guichet unique électronique, mais pour les opérateurs, ils sont confrontés à plusieurs entités. Ma troisième remarque, mon troisième constat sera que, à ce stade aujourd'hui, la technologie n'est plus l'obstacle. Les technologies sont matures, elles deviennent de plus en plus agiles, de plus en plus performantes, de plus en plus faciles d'accès, aussi en termes de coûts. Donc quand on parle de transformation numérique, le problème n'est plus les ingénieurs informatiques, qui maintenant savent très bien faire le travail, mais davantage, et ça a été dit hier après-midi, notamment par le vice-président de la CEGEM, M. Rook, qui est aussi le président du CIH, c'est dans à la fois la gestion du changement, comment on va organiser cette transformation numérique, et aussi dans la volonté politique qui va présider à ce changement. Un autre exemple, cette fois issu du travail sur le corridor Dakar-Bamako. J'ai assisté à plusieurs réunions des douanes du Mali, des douanes du Sénégal, pour dire mais comment on va intégrer nos systèmes, simplement même pour faire la mise en transit. Donc vraiment, même pas l'opération d'édouanement conjointe de bout en bout, mais simplement pour faire une mise en transit qu'on va pouvoir suivre le long du corridor. J'ai suivi 2 ans de débats avec quelques progrès, avec quelques discussions. On espère que ça va déboucher. Mais il y a une question claire qui se pose, qui est effectivement comment on gère le travail de 2 équipes informatiques, comment on les met ensemble dans une seule pièce et comment on leur donne le mandat, avec une volonté politique très claire à plus haut niveau, de trouver une façon de parler. Mais ce n'est pas un problème de tuyau, ce n'est pas un problème de système. C'est un problème d'organiser le changement et de faire dialoguer d'abord les personnes avant de faire dialoguer les systèmes informatiques. Mon 4e constat, ce sera un des constats qui vient d'être évoqué, c'est après la transformation numérique au niveau des opérations, le fait que je puisse, avec chaque opérateur, faire des choses en ligne, le port, la douane ou autre. Après la deuxième transformation numérique, qui est l'intégration à travers des guichets uniques qui vont réunir plusieurs opérateurs avec lesquels j'avais l'habitude de travailler séparément en ligne. Ça va être, cette intégration peut aller jusqu'au niveau régional ou international, ça va être les big data et comment on va utiliser le flot de données qui va être produit par cette intégration croissante. Ça va revenir aussi à la question de l'intelligence artificielle. Un exemple, les contrôles douaniers. Notre collègue a dit que dans plus de 90, il y a encore 90% de contrôles douaniers dans le monde. On sait que c'est utile, c'est important, ça permet de lutter contre la fraude, mais il faut moins de contrôles et des contrôles plus intelligents. C'est ça le mot d'ordre pour l'avenir. Or, je prends un exemple sur les big data, la masse de données qui vont être produites, l'intelligence artificielle couplée à cette masse de données produites doit nous conduire, ou doit conduire les douanes, à faire des contrôles beaucoup plus ciblés, beaucoup plus intelligents, moins coûteux et plus efficaces. C'était un exemple sur le métier de la douane, mais ça va changer le métier des opérateurs portuaires, des transitaires et de toute la chaîne de facilitation des échanges. Le 5e constat et dernier constat, c'est que la révolution numérique, la transformation numérique, pose des questions à l'ensemble de la société. Il faut reconnaître que le commerce international, sur les évolutions au niveau de la société, a été en pointe, et tous les débats sur le blockchain, sur la dématérialisation, sur les guichets uniques électroniques, sur cette société d'information dans laquelle on vit, au niveau national et international, toutes ces questions ont été poussées par les exigences et les priorités de la facilitation des échanges. Il en reste néanmoins que ça dépasse la facilitation des échanges et qu'à un moment, les États vont devoir eux aussi intervenir, prendre les dispositions et qu'une des limites à la transformation numérique, ça va être la compréhension et la volonté des États et des sociétés à l'intégrer. Je vais prendre 2 exemples. à un moment, si je veux dématérialiser ma procédure, il va falloir que j'utilise la signature électronique. Maintenant, sur Google, sur Facebook, on utilise notre compte Facebook pour se connecter à une multiplicité de services en ligne. Mais on a du mal à voir émerger la signature électronique qui fera que je pourrais faire l'ensemble de mes opérations, signer mes chèques de bout en bout, à partir du moment où il y a une autorité administrative qui est impliquée, puisqu'il faudra que l'État reconnaisse cette signature électronique. Je prends un deuxième exemple sur la blockchain. Oui, c'est une piste très forte pour l'amélioration de facilitation des échanges, mais il faudra à un moment que les principales autorités administratives qui sont impliquées dans la facilitation des échanges acceptent la blockchain. La force de la technologie blockchain, c'est de décentraliser le processus de contrôle. Et ce qui fait l'une des prérogatives de l'autorité administrative, de l'État, c'est de centraliser la procédure de contrôle. Donc il faudra effectivement discuter pour voir si l'État accepte à un moment, les États qui sont impliqués dans le commerce international, acceptent effectivement d'abandonner cette prérogative centrale à partir d'un système qu'ils vont par définition ne plus maîtriser. Donc mon cinquième constat, oui, c'est le suivant, c'est que la transformation numérique est en marche, que la facilitation des échanges a joué un rôle pionnier pour stimuler un certain nombre de changements, mais qui restera de toute façon un certain nombre de blocages si au niveau des décideurs publics, il n'y a pas un travail de sensibilisation et d'explication qui est fait pour, comme Hans le disait en introduction de cette séance, pour changer le business model. Voilà, je vous remercie.
Okay, thank you very much, Julien. Thank you, Frank, and thank you, Lance, for your explanation about the various topics in this session. Are there questions from the audience? No questions from, I cannot imagine that there are questions. No? Well, I have a few, but I would like you to have, there's one coming up. Just the mic is, where's the mic? Here, David, the mic will come to you. Over there. Who is handling? One of the girls over there. Can you hand over the mic over there to David, Roth? David, you get two mics now, I think. Oh no, only one. No.
Thank you.
Right.
See danger with asking the first question. So it was really a question for Lance. I just wondered from a single window perspective, what do you feel is the biggest barrier to adoption, either nationally or from trade? And do you think trade in particular could do more to move forward for a single submission portal, if not a national single window?
Yes, okay.
Thank you.
Thanks very much, David. And I'll ask you some questions as well then. I think we discussed it quite a lot yesterday as well. One of the biggest barriers for putting in place a single window on a national level is getting the coordination correct between all of the participating government agencies. And it's quite a huge task to try to get into place, which is why very often the private sector is able to move much quicker. As I was trying to explain with single submission portal, there can be private sector initiatives that can communicate with each agency without having the agencies streamline their procedures together. And so, yes, I think trade could do quite a lot in preparing these types of platforms like single submission portals that could enable traders, the operators, to perform all of their formalities for import, export, and transit through a single submission, but maybe not through a single window, but through a single submission portal. And they could also offer other services like B2B services that can help them to improve their competitiveness and their business processes.
Julien?
You don't mind if I answer too? No, I just want to support this statement. I think this is the most important. And I would like to come back to this institutional film about PORTNET and this container called Kanta. He's the only one which knows what he has to go through. You understand what I mean? When you want to build one single window, you mean that you want to put around the table several public institutions and sometimes private companies involved in the trade chain. But the only témoin of all the chain is Kanta, the container that we saw in the dock. He knows that he has to go there and there and there and there and there. And this is very difficult to make understand to the several stakeholders what it takes from one container to deal with this agency, this agency, this agency, this agency. Building this vision from the container or the trade operator point of view is much more difficult than what you can expect.
Frank?
Yes, I would like to add two more things from my recent personal experience. The first one is that it's very often a long debate who will be in charge of the single window.
Yeah.
A government decision needs to be taken on who's in charge. What is the governance of the single window? Often, even if all of the other things are clear, that can take 1 year, 2 years before there is a political consensus on who does what. Second problem that I have seen is, especially in countries with a larger informal economy, is that in public everyone speaks in favor of the single window, but in private they see it as a threat to their personal activities, to their personal income, and then they put sticks in the wheels at the practical level, and progress is slowed down very much because people are afraid of the future and afraid of their job, their income, and so on.
Windows, because when the government doesn't want to choose between all the public institution agencies, it's okay, we're going to give the charge and the responsibility of the private company because she will take care of it. And this is like a neutral partner when they don't have to take political decisions.
Yeah, I fully agree. And what I may add to that, I think communication between all the parties is so important. Sometimes you see the polarization. It's just sending a message. You have to do this, you have to do that. Communicate first, have a consensus, you have your ambassadors, and then it will be adopted. Yeah? Are there more questions from the audience? David? No, not this time. Later on, like. Yes. Oh, sorry, Uwe. The mic is there.
Yeah, thank you very much. It's not a question, it's more a remark to the presentation of Frank. Thank you very much for the presentation. You have mentioned, and we have talked a lot yesterday and today about data exchange and technologies and all that nice things. But one thing I think was very important that you have mentioned it. You have said the combined control activities is one of the key elements as well. So I think that is, when we are talking about all that nice technologies and IT and blockchain and whatever, I think one of the most important things is the organizational flow behind that. So somebody has to do the work, that's for sure. And you have possibilities to check out if there are possible automated approval schemes, but in a lot of the cases, the collaboration, and I'm talking now about that topic, what you have presented, customs, in a lot of the cases, the collaboration between customs and the other border services is one of the crucial elements. And thank you that you have mentioned that, and I think we have to highlight that several times more and more, that this has to be one of the important parts in the discussion. Thank you.
Thank you. Are there more questions or remarks or compliments for the three speakers? Yes, over there in the middle.
Bonjour, Je m'appelle Jouali, je suis expert en douane et commerce international. Nous profitons de votre présence pour vous poser, pour faire une comparaison. Aujourd'hui, le Maroc dispose d'un guichet unique qui est PORTNET, mais pour l'opérateur, il y a plusieurs d'autres fenêtres, telles que la douane, telles que l'office d'échange et le PORTNET. Or, d'après ce que nous savons, la plupart des pays disposent d'un guichet unique qui est centralisé au niveau de la douane. Alors, d'après votre expérience, est-ce que notre formule au Maroc, elle a des avantages par rapport à d'autres? Par ailleurs, lorsque les opérateurs ils ont des problèmes, ils s'adressent soit à la douane, soit au ministère qui s'occupe du commerce extérieur. Et où est c'est-à-dire, et où est l'avantage, la valeur ajoutée de PORTNET pour les cas, en cas de difficulté, etc. Et en plus, les opérateurs doivent payer aussi bien le PORTNET comme abonnement que d'autres portes, comme la douane. Alors, est-ce que cette formule, aujourd'hui au Maroc, elle est avantageuse pour les opérateurs économiques? Et merci.
Et Franck, vous voulez répondre?
Oui, merci.
Et vous, Lance aussi, oui.
Oui, merci pour votre question. Ben, comme plusieurs d'entre vous savent, je travaille aussi sur un projet ici au Maroc et je peux témoigner personnellement que le guichet unique ici, comparé à d'autres pays, fonctionne très bien et a une grande utilité. Maintenant, on revient un peu à la question, est-ce que la douane doit être en charge d'un guichet unique ou une autre organisation plus centrale vers le ministère de commerce, etc. Je pense que, en principe, c'est très important que ça fonctionne très bien, que les gens, comme Hans a dit, que les gens ont discuté et qu'il y a un consensus et qu'on a bien communiqué. Du moment qu'il y a un accord entre vous, que ceux qui sont en charge du guichet unique ont la compétence et le mandat, je pense que tout fonctionne bien. Mais je dois avouer que j'ai vu aussi des guichets uniques gérés par la douane qui fonctionnent très bien. Je ne dis pas que l'un est meilleur que l'autre, ça dépend de la situation historique, de la personnalité, de la gouvernance dans le pays. Donc je ne pense pas qu'il y ait une solution unique au monde. C'est une question, comme on a dit, de consensus et ensuite de décision et de communication. Puis deuxième partie de votre question, c'est est-ce que ça n'ajoute pas une sorte de couche administrative en plus et de là on crée peut-être des frais en plus? Ben, je pense que dans la plupart des pays, l'opérateur il a le choix. Soit il traite directement avec la douane, avec les vétérinaires, etc. S'il a l'habitude et ça lui plaît très bien, ben peut-être qu'il veut continuer comme ça. Mais je pense que pour beaucoup de firmes qui ont multiples activités, multiples partenaires, c'est beaucoup plus important d'avoir un guichet, un partenaire unique qui traite tous les soins administratifs derrière pour eux. Et que c'est normal que ça a un coût, mais là aussi, j'insiste que le coût du guichet unique ne doit pas être d'une façon de générer des profits commerciaux, mais ça doit être un service à l'intérêt de tout le monde, mais il y a un prix, les services doivent être de bonne qualité, et pour cela, il y a un prix à payer, on ne peut pas y échapper. C'est soit directement au guichet unique, soit via les taxes, parce que l'État doit le subsidier. Donc, je pense que la qualité est bonne, et pour les firmes, je l'ai vu sur le plan global, les firmes qui ont des activités très diverses, c'est très intéressant. Pour ceux qui font toujours le même type d'importation ou exportation, ben peut-être ils connaissent ça très bien, ils traitent directement avec l'administration et je ne vois pas d'inconvénient. Donc c'est une question de choix pour chaque firme, quelle situation est la meilleure. Merci.
Merci Franck. Et Lance?
Merci. Donc la recommandation 33 est accompagnée d'un répositoire de cas d'études d'implémentation de guichets uniques à travers le monde. Et ce qu'on peut constater avec ce répositoire, c'est qu'il n'y a pas un seul modèle d'implémentation. Il y a, selon le contexte du pays, il peut y avoir d'autres agences gouvernementales qui sont donnés plus un rôle central que d'autres dans l'implémentation du guichet unique. Très récemment, on est en train d'étudier la Biélorussie. Et en Biélorussie, c'est le ministère de Communication qui prend le lead du guichet unique, similaire à une situation en Estonie, où le cadre pour tout échange électronique en Estonie a été défini par un ministère de télécommunications. Donc le choix c'est sûr que pour la Biélorussie, ça serait absurde d'avoir un ministère de portuaires à mener un guichet unique parce qu'il n'y a pas de port maritime en Biélorussie. Donc tout dépend de la situation dans le pays. Et puis ensuite, pour le modèle économique, il y a plusieurs modèles qui existent dans beaucoup de pays européens, et Franck peut me corriger. Je crois que le service est gratuit normalement, mais il y a d'autres pays dans le monde, même aux États-Unis. Depuis la fin des années 90, il y avait une petite surtaxe sur chaque opération afin de financer un développement numérique pour mettre en place un guichet unique éventuel. Et les opérateurs américains se plaignaient tout le temps parce que pendant plus de 15 ans, il n'y a jamais eu un résultat et ils payaient à chaque importation une petite surtaxe. Et ça a nécessité, comme Franck a dit et Julien a dit aussi, il fallait une agence forte qui avait un mandat du gouvernement pour le mettre en place. Donc je crois qu'il n'y a pas un seul modèle et je crois que Jalal allait venir pour complémenter aussi.
Oui, Jalal.
Oui, merci Lance. Merci pour la question. En fait, c'est une occasion pour justement apporter des éclaircissements suite à la discussion. Il y a eu une discussion similaire qu'il y a eu hier. Donc, je pense, juste pour expliquer, donc, quand on parle, il n'y a pas de différence. Au Maroc, ce qu'on a, c'est qu'il n'y a pas de différence, en tout cas, sur la logique stratégique de la douane ou la logique stratégique de l'autorité portuaire ou la logique stratégique du ministère du Commerce extérieur. Il n'y a aucune divergence. Notre pays a justement travaillé dans le cadre d'une communauté inclusive sur la mise en place d'un guichet unique. Il se trouve, bien entendu, que la douane marocaine était plus avancée dans la digitalisation même avant la naissance de PORTNET. PORTNET, vous savez, il est né, ça fait maintenant presque 5 ans. La douane était parmi les administrations marocaines qui étaient les plus précurseurs dans la mise en place de systèmes dématérialisés, le système MADR de la douane marocaine, qui est un système maison, qui est une fierté aussi du Maroc, a démarré bien avant, avec des services qui sont dématérialisés, avec des services qui sont informatisés. Après, il y a eu la mise en niveau de PORTNET, et la mise en niveau de PORTNET est une mise à niveau et une mise en place par une communauté qui inclut aussi la douane, qui est mise en place par l'autorité portuaire, la douane marocaine, le ministère du Commerce extérieur, et une gouvernance qui implique tout le monde. Donc la stratégie dont on parle, dont on a parlé hier, dont on a parlé aujourd'hui, est une stratégie mise en place par toute cette communauté et qui va progressivement. Ce n'est pas une approche Big Bang, on a parlé hier des approches, c'est une approche qui est progressive. On le montre aussi dans la vidéo, même au niveau portuaire, donc on est parti port par port. Au niveau des services, on part service par service, on part sur les services régaliens, on part sur des services à valeur ajoutée petit à petit. Et aujourd'hui, il se trouve qu'il y a encore des services douaniers qui sont accessibles via le système douanier uniquement. Parce que jusqu'à aujourd'hui, le système PORTNET n'est pas prêt à mettre en place ces systèmes. Mais dans la feuille stratégique, il est acté que, suivant les orientations de Sa Majesté, que le Dieu l'assiste, que tous les services soient accessibles via une seule plateforme, et cette logique de fournir l'information une seule fois au plus tôt, pour ne pas redemander la même donnée ou la même information à l'opérateur économique. Pour la question du coût, pour des éléments de réponse, donc je connais un petit peu les modèles partout dans le monde. Donc il y a des modèles où l'opérateur ne paye rien, mais il y a toujours un coût. L'opérateur ne paye rien, mais il est subventionné par le citoyen. Parce que si c'est l'État qui fournit le budget du guichet unique, ben c'est les payeurs de taxes qui fournissent. Donc il y a toujours quelqu'un qui paye. Donc, et pour moi, c'est pas vraiment fair, c'est pas juste. Donc c'est comme si on subventionne par exemple le carburant. Avant au Maroc, on subventionnait le carburant, le pétrole. Aujourd'hui, on ne subventionne plus le carburant. Parce que quoi que je consomme, les gens vont partager avec moi la consommation, ils vont payer avec moi même s'ils n'utilisent pas cette énergie. Là, dans la logique du guichet unique, c'est celui qui utilise le service qui doit payer le prix juste par rapport au service qu'il paye. Et le guichet unique mis en place par le Maroc est autonome financièrement, autofinancé financièrement, et il n'a aucune justement participation du budget de l'État. C'est-à-dire on ne s'inscrit pas dans une logique de dépenses budgétaires et d'un budget qui vient de l'État. Voilà, c'est quelques éléments de la réponse.
Merci bien. OK. I have 1 minute. Is there a question? Who has another question? You have? No? I have only one question left before we end this session. Okay? Yeah. Very short. Basically, very short one. The word blockchain. Well, we might have a different opinion about blockchain, definitely. But I heard Frank talking about blockchain and about the customs and the way they are acting, and they are making progress, especially when you look at Singapore, the national trade platform. Frank, I'm always looking for the cooperation between government and the business from a PCS point of view. What is your opinion about the role of the PCS in this environment when you talk about blockchain on customs and the interaction between the business and the customs in the changing coming years?
Yes, thank you, Hans. I would like to mention 2 things. First one, a practical one. I think as the PCS is mainly at the center of the activities when the goods either are entering by one mode of transport and then going inland by another mode of transport or vice versa, that requires a lot of coordination, exchange of information, technology, and so on. And there I think also in the world of PCS, they have to look at the evolutions in terms of blockchain and the opportunities, especially in cases where people do not like that someone holds on his or her own the information, that people like to be sure that the information is distributed and that they can trust the information. That is something where I think also the PCS can play a role, and I think with the evolution also in the different, I would say, sister sectors like logistics and so on, that there will be connections and cooperation. So definitely I would suggest that you keep that on the agenda of your studies or of your activities, and maybe engage here or there in a pilot project. The second part of your question was on the role, if I understand well, of the PCS in terms of private-public partnership. There I think the PCS, in view of its expertise that is available, is very well placed to have a role, for example, in the national trade facilitation committees or trade contact group or whatever you have it. I think the sector of PCS and single window definitely has a role to play there. They come with expertise, they have a lot of knowledge, they have also technological background, they have governance background, so I think they're to help it, and they know the problems and the needs on both sides. I see there definitely the PCS and the single window operators through the association to participate in these debates which prepare the future and the cooperation between the public and the private sector. Thank you.
Is my thing on? It's on, yes. They switched it off already. Because, you want to react, or we have a very small time limit. I think it's 30 seconds? Maximum? Yes, 30 seconds.
Non, je voudrais réagir sur cet important sujet qu'est la blockchain. On adopte les technologies pour 2 raisons. Soit parce qu'on les comprend, soit parce qu'elles sont puissantes à résoudre un problème. On ne les comprend pas, mais ça remplit un besoin et on ne cherche même pas à comprendre tellement l'outil est puissant. Sur la blockchain, c'est très difficile de comprendre le concept. J'ai fait des études décentes, j'ai regardé plusieurs fois plusieurs films, on a essayé de m'expliquer à peu près une centaine de fois. Je ne serais incapable de vous expliquer comment fonctionne la blockchain, même si je comprends les principales caractéristiques qui ont été décrites par mon collègue. Ça veut dire que je ne comprends pas cette technologie. Donc la seule raison qui peut faire que cette technologie sera adoptée, c'est si cette technologie est puissante d'en résoudre des problèmes. Or, il va falloir que la technologie rencontre son marché, qu'elle puisse démontrer qu'elle est puissante à résoudre des problèmes. On a une grosse potentialité de solutions qui peut venir à la rencontre de beaucoup de problèmes, mais tant que cette rencontre de marché n'a pas eu lieu, je ne sais pas ce que la blockchain va devenir dans les 2, 3 ou 10 prochaines années. Je veux croire à cette courbe en 2018 qui va faire qu'il va y avoir une explosion d'utilisation de la blockchain. Pour qu'il y ait cette utilisation d'explosion, il faut des gens, les communautés portuaires ou autres, qui viennent financer cette innovation pour voir ce que ça donne. Et tant qu'il n'y aura pas des financements solides pour permettre à des codeurs et des développeurs d'imaginer des solutions technologiques sur la blockchain, je ne suis pas sûr qu'on verra la blockchain se diffuser dans les réseaux de facilitation des échanges.
Ok, nous devons arrêter. Merci bien, merci bien. Merci bien Lance, merci bien Julien, merci bien Frank. May I have an applause for those three well-known and, experts in their regions. Thank you.